Hey, George, on a continuing topic, I want to share with you something I found out with regard to election fraud. And it has to do with nonprofit organizations and their impact, the way they go about doing things. And I want to focus on one in particular and its impact on two different states. So Zuckerberg gave $30 million to the Center for Tech and Civic Life. If you go to the Center for Tech and Civic Life's website, you'll see that it's the who's who of far left instigators. And I mean far left instigators. Now, that really does come into play. And the reason it does is let's
Did
take
you think
George.
Zuckerberg was a conservative?
No. But here's why it comes into play is because in order for a nonprofit to get behind an election and try and influence the election in terms of voter turnout, right? And ballot harvesting and things along those lines. They have to be able to prove that they're nonpartisan and they have to distribute their money a little bit. So they did distribute their money, but they're highly partisan. How that'll play out, I'm not quite sure. But to show you the impact they had in Georgia, right? They gave grants to 9 of the 10 counties with the greatest Democratic shifts in the 2020 presidential election. 9 of those counties that were granted that money averaged 13.7% in terms of a shift blueward. There were 2 counties, Cobb and Gwinnett. They were in the 4 counties that delivered Biden the most votes. When you look at Wisconsin, it gets even a little bit darker in that right now they're investigating the same situation, and they've uncovered ballots that were brought about by harvesting. However, harvesting of ballots is illegal in Wisconsin. There were 5 major counties that participated in this. Each one was given about $1 million, and they found that the government officials were the ones enabling this ballot harvesting. Again, it's illegal in Wisconsin. They've also found that the CTCL, which again, the tech center, the nonprofit, they set up and managed voting facilities to a very large degree in Wisconsin. So you have 2 prime incidents where you have nonprofits that are operating either on the fringe or totally going against the laws in the case of Wisconsin and impacting our ability to have confidence in our electoral process. So I just want to share with you those 2 updates. I know it's something you and I talk about quite a bit. Anything that you can add to that, things that you found recently?
In the end, when it comes to these types of situations, I think the old saying on the street, it's only illegal if you get caught, right? So if there's no one there willing to catch you, it's the same thing as the secretaries of state changing election laws unilaterally without going through legislation. Clearly illegal, by every standard. No one even argues the case that it's legal, but nothing, like it did nothing to change the fact that they did it. So like they're perfectly capable of doing it. The legislature is meaningless in those states. And I think that's what we learned from the election was that Pennsylvania's legislature, Atlanta's legislature, Wisconsin and Michigan, they're useless. They're there as a showpiece because whenever it's necessary to jump over them, they jump over them. So if there's private organizations out there doing all this nonsense, ballot harvesting is ridiculous anyway. It should be illegal everywhere. The idea that they're saying, the notion that it's so difficult and so challenging to drive over to a local polling place and pull a lever is just disturbing to me. I mean, it's just, how insulting is that? And I have these arguments on social media all the time, and I always pin them down to one thing. I just had one recently, and they're trying to explain to me how the voting law changes in Georgia were oppressive, and I just drill them down to make them say, who are they oppressive to? Oh, marginalized and poor people. That's not a real response. Who are they oppressive to? All kinds of people are marginalized and poor. Who exactly are we talking about that's incapable, that is too incompetent to get an ID? And then I say it for him. You mean black people? You mean Latino people? This is what you mean. This is what your pompous white ass means. But you, or not even white. As a matter of fact, these guys, I believe, are Indian. Okay, but like the point is, they don't want to say it. They don't want. To this day, they haven't said it. They kept coming a specific set of people. They said to me, marginalized and poor people. I'm like, those are terms like fair share and comprehensive. They mean nothing. They mean nothing. And in the end, when they throw that kind of stuff around, you've got to, and this is how you have to treat them. You got to get them down to what they're really saying. Don't let them talk in this word salad garbage because they're just regurgitating what they heard.
Right.
They're regurgitating what they heard, and because these are the words and these are the terms that all these articles use, all these bloggers use, all these lefto psychos use. Right? When they want to raise your taxes, they're like, well, we just want everyone to pay their fair share. What does that mean? What's fair share? Fair, like what's unfair? Right? What's unfair? So it's not a matter of, it's not a matter of trying to debate them on merits. It's a matter of uncoding and forcing them to say what they mean. Because when it comes out clean, they realize how ridiculous and racist it sounds. Like they immediately, they won't do it. And they'll end the conversation with you and they'll leave. And that's when you take a knee, put one hand up to the sky. You got this one, baby. You got this one.
Like Geraldo Rivera throwing a piece of paper the other night.
Oh, yeah, he had that fight on the. I saw a clip of it. What was he on? The Hannity show or something? Him
Something
and
like
Bongino?
that. He got all upset and threw a piece of paper at him and called him a punk. But
whatever.
Look, the fact of the matter is that you said something a minute ago about paying fair share. And I remember in an interview one time, I forgot who was talking to Al Sharpton, who was talking about how people, the 1% need to pay more, right? And so they asked him to qualify that. What do you mean pay more? In one sentence in the conversation, he says, at least 5% more. Well, what would be the cap on that? Oh, at least 15% they should pay. And so if you look at the IRS numbers, the top 1% of the people pay 34% of the taxes.
Yeah, I think it's actually a little higher than that at the moment, but it's around that ballpark. Yeah, it's somewhere like 5% of the population pays over 50% of the taxes. 50% of the bottom 50% of the population economically pay no taxes.
Right.
So like if you're out there, you're getting taxes taken out of your check and you think you're paying taxes because you're not factoring in the fact that you get all of it back with interest at the end of the year. Like some of us don't get anything back. Right. Like some of us have to pay more at the end of the year. After you've coughed up your 25 or 30 grand, you got to cough up another 5 or 6 grand because they're like, oh, you get enough
that's not even including our accountant.
Yeah, that's not even including the accountant.
Who we both share.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I'd like to have his job. His fees going up every year. But we love you, Mike, if you watch this.